Okay, so we've got some more live music coming up in a bit from Callow Youth. You are watching MMTV live from Marley Mancunia Studios in Manchester. We've had our legendary sports person, which we have on the show all the time, and it is only right now we have a legendary musician as well. He is pretty much the frontman of the whole Manchester music scene. He is from the Inspiral Carpets. He is from Excess Manchester. Will you please welcome Clint Boon? Can you go anywhere without someone shouting Boon Army?
No, I get it all the time. Boon Army! Boon Army! Yes, come on. Over to you, Dave.
Cheers, Clint. Sit down. First of all, before we go any further, right, you've been around the block a bit. What do you think of it all? What do you think of it?
Well, this setup. I think at the moment, I think Manchester is on fire, and a lot of it is because of things going on like this. It reminds me of like back in the 80s when we started bands.
Someone's unplugged the fucking thing. Are we on now or what? This is what we're saying. We're live telling from Manchester. Right, let's start again. Everybody, Clint Boon. What do you think of it? Tell us what you think of this setup.
I think it's brilliant. It's gritty. It's, what do they call it? Grassroots, isn't it? It's where it all starts. It's great that we've got these beautiful venues like the Ritz and the Apollo and the Arena, but this is fucking special, isn't it? And it, like I said before, that when the mic was off, it reminds me a lot of where it started for me and my band and a lot of other bands back then. Phil Morris, he had a band called Atoll K. Yeah, back in Oldham in the 80s, man, that's when it all started. Some great stuff kicking about. Callow Youth, first time I heard them, they reminded me of the early Inspirals, that gritty sort of Velvet Underground sort of vibe. Control of the Going, another great band, and as I said, Blanket Man, I've got it as well. They've got that. I don't know what it is. It's it don't matter about tuning up. It don't matter about ironing your gear. It's just get on there and just fucking bang it out. You remind me of the Fall and the Velvets.
Right, now, I'll tell you what, right, now, in your career, not just as a musician, but as a presenter as well, and I've known you for the best part of 20 years now, and now you're lucky to meet loads of people, loads of legends, and ask them about their life stories. One thing I've noticed is not many people have ever actually spoke to you about your life story. Now, the Boon story would be a fucking good film or rock and roll book, wouldn't it? It would, wouldn't it? No, it would. So what I'm going to do now for the next 10 minutes, right, is I want to talk through the Boon story in 10 minutes, right? So that's what my plan is to do. So let's go back to Oldham. Back in Oldham, right? We're talking like the 60s and 70s. What was your first experience? There's no doubt about it. Everyone in this room, everyone watching, everyone that knows Clint Boon knows your passion for music. What was your first experience for music?
My first memory of being excited by music was Elvis Presley. So I was born in 1959. So by 62, 63, 64, I was aware of music. And my earliest memories are not just seeing Elvis on the telly, but seeing my dad's reaction. I remember seeing my dad the first time he saw the Rolling Stones on telly. He was like, bloody hell, what's this? What's this? Bloody hell. Just got... So just the effect it had on my parents, really. But that was as far back as I can remember. There's always been music. And 50s rock and roll was my big passion for all the way through to the 70s, and then punk happened, and that was it. Bang, everything changed. I saw the Sex Pistols in Manchester, so not the gig that everybody says they were at. I wasn't at that one. But a few months after, they came back to the Electric Circus in Collyhurst, and it was on the Anarchy tour. It's the Sex Pistols, the Clash, the Buzzcocks, Johnny Thunder's Heartbreakers, and it was £1.20 to get in. December 7th, 1976, right? I was at art college. We all came out from college straight to this gig, and it was fucking everything changed at that moment. So that was a big turning point, the punk thing, because at that point you realise that you can do anything you want, really. Like the motivational speaker said earlier, you know, it's like that. That's, to me, punk did that for me, where whatever your dream is, you can go for it. And especially in a city like Manchester, where you get all this support, you know, back then, 20 years ago, you got it, 10 years ago, it's just now everybody's still supporting each other. And it's, I never sensed any competition. I bet Tunes will agree with this, but back in the day when it was all the Manchester thing, and we were off doing our thing, and the Mondays were doing their thing, and the Roses and James, and it was just always camaraderie and support. We're all part of the same party, weren't we? And that was, I think that's just a real representation of the Manchester spirit, how, you know, we'll support each other and, you know, encourage each other. And you get it bands like, when Elbow were pretty big, and, oh no, it's Doves give Elbow a leg up, didn't they? And then Elbow got massive and they gave Doves a bit more of a leg up. And it's always like that. It's always, everybody, what can we do to help you? You know what I'm saying?
I think like James were always a good band for that, getting people supporting and stuff like that as well. So we've gone through the 60s, you got into rock and roll, into the punk scene. Before you got into the band, obviously I know you did a little bit of DJing and stuff like that as a kid, you know, doing that kind of stuff. In a world full of guitars and drums and singers, you decided to play with your organ. What was the decision? Do you like that? Do you see what I did there? What was the decision to not go for a guitar, not go for a drums? What was the decision to, you know, to play the organ, the keyboard?
It's an interesting story, because at first I tried with a guitar. When I saw punk, I thought, right, I'll get a guitar, 6 strings. Couldn't fucking do it, hurt my fingers. Tried a bass because there was a couple of strings less. Thought that was harder. I had a 6-string acoustic guitar. I took all the strings off apart from one. And I've still got the cassette tape at home of these songs that I wrote, 1977. You know, strumming away on this one. So anyway, long story short, I started getting whatever gear I could into my bedroom to make music on my own. And I was collecting like 8-track cartridge players out of cars, which is basically a predecessor of it's like a big cassette tape, but it's a loop of tape. It just went round this album and go round and start again. And I figured out with that you could make it into a small loop. You could cut the tape into like a 12-inch loop. And it was like making samples before samples existed. So it was all this experimental shit. My bedroom was brilliant, man. Pre-MIDI. Well, you know what? It leads very nicely to MIDI, because I was dicking about. I had these 8-track cartridge players out of a car, and to power it, I had a car battery under my bed. And my dad used to come in the morning like, I can smell battery acid. What's that fucking stink? And I'm like, it's not me, Dad. There's a car battery powering all these machines. Anyway, long story short, as he said, the MIDI thing arrived in 1982 or something. Somebody invented this musical instrument, digital interface, whatever it's called. What? Yeah, Atari. That was a bit. I got one of them. I've still got all mine in my cellar. I've got like 3 or 4 of them. Anyway, so basically, MIDI meant that somebody like me that was into making music, you could program all the machines to do whatever you want to do, and then when you press play, they'd all start rattling along together. So it's a big thing for me as a keyboard player. Well, I think that's where I got more into keyboards, because I thought keyboards is an easier way to make music than guitars. You know what, I still can't play guitar, but I would love to, and I keep thinking if I get a bit more time, I'll have a go at it. But keyboards, it just means you can get away with murder, you know what I mean? Like the way I do it, I'm not fucking Elton John or out like that, but the beauty with the like synths and the, you know, decent keyboards, you can just go like that and you've got a fucking orchestra playing and a symphony and a beat and an arpeggiator and some vocals as well, just by doing that, you know what I mean? So that's what I've done.
So you did all that, you went to art college, you were big in art, you know, you found the keyboards, the synths, the organ and that kind of stuff. Already by that point, you were already, you know, a big part of the Manchester music scene in the way, just the people you were knocking about with. I know at the time, in the early days, you were in bands with Manny and stuff like that. And then that's when the Inspiral Carpets got together. How did the 5 of you, or it was 4 then 5, how did you lads come together? And when you were already on that scene with Manny and all the lads like that, how did the Inspiral Carpets happen?
That period where I had this mad bedroom thing going on, I'd also dropped out of art college to get a job so that I could have money in order to start working on putting a band together or whatever. I ended up working in Ashton-under-Lyne in a big furniture company, and there was loads of empty offices, and I took them over and made rehearsal rooms. This is 1983, 84. And bands started coming to me to rehearse and to record cheap demo tapes and stuff. And I used to charge £3 an hour to record a 4-track demo tape. But anyway, one night I got a call from this lad saying, I've got a band from Oldham called the Spiral Carpets, we'd like to come and record a demo. And they came down, this is a 4-piece band, no keyboards, and they sounded a lot like Callow Youth, who you're about to hear. And I recorded a couple of demos with this band, and I just thought, if I put my keyboards in with that, it's going to sound like the Velvets or Question Mark and the Mysterians. It just had that proper garage vibe that I love. So I blagged my way into this band, and that was 1986, and then from there everything happened really quickly. I think because of the keyboard sound that I had, it wasn't typical of that era. You know, in the 80s, everybody was using big synths like Simple Minds and stuff like that, and I was heard this 1960s Farfisa organ that sounded amazing, and I still got it. It's a beautiful thing.
So, we obviously, like I said, I'd love to do a full show where we tell the Boon story. We all know the Spiral Carpet story, and then obviously you decided to call it a day and take a break, and you formed the Clint Boon Experience. So let's move on to that chapter of your life. How important was it for you that after the Inspirals you formed another band? Was it because for the love of music, or was it a case of you just wanted to carry on doing what you were doing with the fans that you had?
It was nothing to do with fans, really. It was just me wanting to keep making music. And with the Clint Boon Experience, it was a case of doing all the things that I couldn't do in the Inspirals, because we were a great garage pop band. But what the Clint Boon Experience became was this mad sort of cabaret band with an opera singer, Alfie Boe, who's not very famous. And we had brass, and we had all sorts of shit going on. Bo Walsh knows well, he drummed with us for a little bit. He's actually the best drummer in Manchester, this fella. Yeah. You know what I mean? He fucking is, and he always has been. Sorry, if there's any other drummers around, watch Bo Walsh, the old teacher. So yeah, but Clint Boon Experience, we did all right. We did a couple of albums, got on TFI Friday, the same night that Iggy Pop was on, which was a bit of a highlight for me. And then that disbanded after we had a really bad motorway accident, and that put the band. There was that much trauma within the band that we couldn't travel again. Just stopped the way we had to work, so we knocked the band on the head. But it was a great band. It's fucking bonkers, though. Have a look at it on YouTube. Clint Boon Experience.
And do you like it white with no sugar?
Yeah, I still do. It was literally a song about having coffee when I was driving back my car. I like it white with no sugar when I drive on the highway. But a lot of people thought I was singing I like white, no sugar, which it wasn't.
So obviously you've had the Inspirals, you've had the Clint Boon Experience, and then over the last, I'm going to say few years, but it's a long time now, you've become a radio presenter. You know, you've done stuff like you did Radio X, Revolution, BBC Radio Manchester. You're now on XS Manchester, which we all know, listen to every drive time. As well as that, obviously, I think before the radio thing, it's fair to say, you made your mark without a doubt as a nightclub DJ. How did you get into doing the nightclub DJ from being the band? Because I think, and I'm thinking out loud as I'm saying this now, everybody in every band decides to be a DJ and goes out and do DJ sets. If you're in a band, you go and do a DJ set. You were the first person to do that. How did that come about?
This will shock some of you, this, right? I've now been DJing for 43 years. I started in 1975. When I was 15, me and my friends set up, two friends, we'd set up a mobile disco called the Royton Interchange Disco Roadshow. Shit name. But we were 15, what do you expect? And we started doing like little bars and weddings and things around Oldham. And I've never stopped DJing. So when people see me DJing in some little bar now, that I might be DJing to like 30 people in a shit bar in the back street of Manchester, and people say, what are you doing DJing? And that's like what I've always fucking done. You know what I mean? I love playing records, and I love playing records on my own at home, but I love playing records in a room where I can see the effect it's having on people. So I've always been a DJ, and when the Inspirals took that break back in 95, it was the first thing I got back into doing more of. So yeah, I did it. I was DJing last night, DJing tomorrow night.
You say you've done it for years, and you're talking about doing. That's a great question, that. And if anyone at home didn't hear what MC Junes has just asked, playing music like you do, does it keep you creative with your writing?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. And being on the radio does as well, because on the radio you get given a lot of records that I've not necessarily gone digging for these records. They're sent to you by pluggers or, you know, kids in places like this will give you a CD like somebody else tonight. So, You know what I mean? It's like, so it's yeah, you get fed new music all the time, as well as playing the classics in clubs, and yeah, it does definitely inspire me as a writer. And I'm still writing. The Inspirals are completely on ice at the moment because we lost our drummer Craig a couple of years ago. He died tragically. So no plans for the Inspirals, but I'm working on a really exciting musical project, which I'll tell you about next time.
You heard that. Next time you've got this project you're coming up, you come on here, MMTV, and tell us. You've just said that on telly. Like you say, you've continued with the DJing and stuff like that. I think you've got the longest residency, if not in Manchester, in the world now at South, which is still as absolutely massive as ever. Like I said, I've known you for a long time. You know, everything's going well with with XS Manchester, which you're on Monday to Friday and Saturday nights. Everything's going well, you know, with the DJing in clubs and stuff. When you look at the future for Clint Boon, what does the future for Clint Boon hold?
Yeah. That's easy, I can do that, no problem. Well, this exciting project that I'm working on is a big thing, and it'll probably be the biggest thing I've ever done, and it'll be the biggest thing I've ever been associated with, hopefully. It's a film, it's a musical. No, that's it, that's all you're getting for tonight. And then elsewhere, what else am I doing? We've got an house full of fucking animals, so it's keeping all those in. You know what I'm doing when I get in tonight, when I get home now? I've got to put 4 rabbits and 2 guinea pigs to bed and a lizard. We've got our rabbits live in the garden, so I've got to do that. Tomorrow I've got to bury a goldfish. Poor little Cole, he died a few days ago. So yeah, but that's rock and roll, man. That's it starts in seedy little clubs like this. Next minute you're travelling the world with your band off your tits, and then before you know it, you're burying fucking goldfish and putting rabbits to bed. Enjoy it, kids.
We all listen to you 2 till 6, Monday to Friday on XS Manchester, and then on Saturday night for the Boon Army Party. Then we all come to South, we see what you're doing and stuff like that. And I said, when I started earlier on, I said it and I genuinely meant it. We all listen to you doing your podcasts, interviewing amazing people, yet we don't hear your story enough. So what we've heard tonight in 10, 15 minutes, hopefully we'll do again for longer in the future. But it's been an absolute pleasure knowing the Clint Boon story. MMTV, Clint Boon, Boon Army.
Boon Army. Thank you. Keep up the good work, Dave.
Enjoy Callow Youth. Let's hear it once again for Clint Boon. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are watching at home, this is MMTV.